Someone should make a T-shirt for the families who lost their loved ones, their children, in the Uvalde school shooting that says something to the effect of, I lost my child in the Uvalde school shooting, and all I got was this shitty report. And I'm not trying to be humorous by any means. I'm trying to point out just how insane this whole situation is, where you literally had hundreds of officers surrounding the school, Uvalde, on May 24th, 2022, the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Hundreds of officers surrounding it, one gunman. And it took damn near an hour for anyone to go in and try and get the situation under control. What I mean, you lost a child and all you got is this shitty report. The United States Justice Department has revealed disturbing failures in the Robb Elementary School shooting. I mean, failures that I think we all saw the day of. Hell, even were called out when the authorities were having their press conference, or I like to call it the circle jerk, where they all walked around and stood on stage with big hats and said, look how good we did. And actually, Beto O'Rourke stepped in and said, no, you didn't. Lots of kids are dead and you didn't do shit. Oh, you don't belong here. I'm not being political, but Beto was right. So what's in this report? What does it mean? It means it points out the incompetencies. That's good. They're being held accountable, kind of, on paper. But still, as of this point, no charges ever brought against any of the officers who failed to save the lives of the children. The ones who went in and then retreated? No. Some have resigned. Some have moved on to other positions in other places, but no real accountability. One would assume there's a lot of guilt there. I would hope. Is there, though? I mean, if you're not capable of going in and saving children who you clearly hear screaming, and the clack, 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 clack of bullets flying into a classroom that you know is right there, and you don't even check the door to see if you can go in. Because, by the way, it was unlocked. If you have the ability to do that, do you have the ability to feel grief, guilt, remorse? I don't know. I think that's questionable as well. One of the points, I'm going to go through some of these here. Desperate pleas for help during the terrifying ordeal. 9 and 10-year-old children inside Robb Elementary School made desperate pleas for assistance. Heart-wrenching cries of help, 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 and heart-rendering statements such as, I don't want to die, and my teacher is dead. There's a lot of bodies. It echoed through these 911 calls during the initial 37 minutes of the siege. 37 minutes. Wrap your mind around that for a second. One of the most significant failures highlighted in the Justice Department's 575-page report was the law enforcement officer inability to promptly recognize the incident as an active shooter scenario. There's guns going off. There's children screaming. There's 911 calls coming in saying there's an active shooter in our school. Yet some of these guys are like, I don't know. Even taking the time to use Purell. Not even joking there. If you go back and you look at the video, the video that was taken inside of the school on the security cameras, there's an officer who's in there as they're trying to figure out where is the shooter. Hey, now's a good time to use some Purell. Different time. It was COVID, right? Because that's the time to think, let's put some Purell on our hands while we're searching for an active shooter as children are being executed in these classrooms of this elementary school as we're wandering around. Good idea. I just got to say, if that's your character and you're able to do something like that, you're probably not capable of being a police officer. You're probably not really capable of doing a whole hell of a lot in life if this is how your mind functions of let's use some Purell right now. The report acknowledges the quick arrival of officers, because that did happen. They did get there quick. They just didn't do anything. And I'm not anti-police, so let's get that straight here first, because there's a lot of people going, oh, you're anti-police, I'm not going to listen to anything you... Bullshit. I'm very pro-competent police. I have family members who are. I have friends who are. I am very pro-competency and pro-competent police. I'm not pro-incompetence, and I'm not pro-covering shit up when there is incompetence. I'm pro-getting rid of those people and holding them accountable, as should everyone in that department and any police officer in this country. This was not a moment of success. This was a moment of looking at this going, what the hell are we doing? What has gone so wrong that you literally can have hundreds of officers from different departments, different jurisdictions, all literally standing around the outside of a school as elementary school children are being executed. And it eventually takes some Texas Rangers to go in there and say, screw you, we're going in. They were detaining parents who were willing to jump the line with no weapons. The argument being, oh, it was been terrifying in there. Sure, it was. Terrifying for those children watching their elementary school, 4th, 5th, 3rd grade students being executed, their classmates and their teacher. That's terrifying. You know what's not terrifying? Going in there with weapons drawn, having a revolver, having whatever else you had on you, having a taser, having a nightstick, having so many things that those students did not have. They were sitting there, they had crayons, they had pencils. You had those weapons and you didn't do anything. But hey, we got a report now saying that you didn't do anything 2 years later. And no charges being brought, which I think is ludicrous. According to the report, officers retreated from the gunfire, opting to wait for reinforcements and treating the gunman as a barricaded suspect, which they could have opened the door. They didn't. The delay allowed the shooter to continue the rampage for an additional 40 minutes. The report emphasized the critical role of leadership in law enforcement during moments of dire challenge. However, it stated that leadership was noticeably absent for an extended period during the Robb Elementary School response. Key figures including the then school police chief, Pete Arredondo, then acting Uvalde police chief, Marino Hargis, and Uvalde County Sheriff Ruben Velasco were cited for their failures in leadership. Some have since resigned. But not right away, though. Took a couple years and a lot of public pressure to go, you guys screwed up. You probably shouldn't be in this position. Arredondo, identified as the de facto on-scene commander, prioritized evacuations over immediate breach and entry into the school room with the shooter, contrary to active shooter response principles. And all the stuff they teach the kids all year, the stuff that, you know, I don't know if you had active shooter drills in school. I was right at the cusp of it. I was in high school when Columbine happened, and then the drills kind of started to happen after that. I can't imagine, you know, we had tornado drills, we had fire drills, active shooter drills. That's not traumatizing or anything. So you teach the kids what to do, you teach the teachers what to do, but then you don't have the actual law enforcement following through on the things they're supposed to do, because that apparently was a bridge too far for the Uvalde Police Department, if that's what you want to call it. Plus the initial crime scene investigation. Oh, they screwed that up too. Handled by the Texas Department of Public Safety, it faced difficulties due to numerous individuals entering the classrooms, officers moving deceased victims within the chaotic scene, potentially compromising evidence as well. Yeah. The report, like I said, it's 500 some pages. It very much dismisses the initial narrative that we saw in that auditorium where the officers and others involved in the city. Great job, buddy. Here, your hat's, my hat's bigger than your hat. No, my hat's bigger than your hat. Aren't we good? We saved lives. No, you didn't. You didn't save, you were idiots. I got a place you can put your hat. I really do. Attorney General Merrick Garland commented on the findings, stating the victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School deserve better. They certainly did. The law enforcement response at Robb Elementary School on May 24th, 2022, and the response by the officials in the hours and days after was a failure. How do we make this better? How do we prevent these things from happening again? You tell me.